this right now. He also predicted higher prices and slower growth as a result of Brexit. However, critics would argue that Carney appears to forget the £400 billion cost of COVID, as well as the Eurozone entering a technical recession. So for the Great British Debate this hour, I'm asking, do you think Brexit is to blame for inflation? Well, let's see what my panel make of that. I'm joined by broadcaster and columnist Lizzie Cundy and also broadcaster and political commentator Sam Dowler. OK, so Sam Dowler, Brexit, is it Brexit's fault, inflation?
Yes.
Just to, Brexit, wages, prices rising with wages lagging behind is the definition.
Yes, I know. So, obviously, this is Mark Carney, who, let's be honest, he knows what he's talking about.
Well, he was a Ramona, and he also created half these rules.
But saying a Ramona is disrespectful for starters.
No, it's true.
Just because he didn't believe that we should leave the
European...
European...
Well, he's moaning after he voted to remain. Moaning now.
But it's like, when you were saying to your past guest, was he a Brexiteer? I mean, like...
Well, was he?
People who voted to leave the European Union could quite possibly, and I know a lot of them that do, see what's happening now and say, oh no, I wish we hadn't voted.
No, listen, unless they're here to say that, I don't believe a word you're saying.
So you don't know anyone that voted for Brexit that regrets it?
No, I don't.
One.
See, this is my problem with you. See, you've come here, I haven't changed my mind, you haven't changed yours, Lizzie hasn't changed hers. You've come here, none of us have changed our mind, and you've presented some invisible people who have apparently changed their mind.
They're all here. They're all here with me.
Invisible people. Let's talk about your invisible friends. I'm sorry, I'm not buying it.
OK, what I'm saying, but because they're all right, I'm getting ahead of myself. What I'm saying is that we only need to look at things like Ashford International, for example, that it's like fallen apart. Like there's no Eurostar that goes to Disneyland Paris, for example. Like what's that got to do with it? I'm just talking about because that's to do with Brexit. That every name me one thing that is better now because of Brexit.
The wages of the lorry drivers, which was the reason I voted, so that people get higher wages.
Is it Brexit's fault?
I said wages of the lorry drivers. People are getting paid a decent wage now for a job that was literally there were so many people from the European Union taking those jobs. The wages were low. Now we have to use our own people. They're being paid properly. You've asked.
We didn't have to go through all those countries to make.
Yeah, but you only need to watch this channel for half a minute before people say that the vaccine was a bad thing. However,
no.
What I'm saying is that for example, with imports and exports, that the red tape is out of control now. That's why our inflation is so bad now because obviously it's such a knock-on effect in so many different aspects in so many different places.
I'm just going to correct you on the people in the channel because I don't think that's true at all. Lizzie.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Sam, I'm going to buy you a sat-nav because you've really lost your way, OK? It's always Brexit's fault, isn't it? It's Brexit's fault that Man United lost the FA Cup, did you know? It's always their fault. Look, inflation is happening all over in many, many countries. Look, it's happening in the USA.
But it's higher here than anywhere else.
Actually, inflation is actually started to fall with an expected average of 6.9 from its peak at 11%. You can look that up if you wish.
And also, we haven't had this month's figures, so the figures that are quoted are the current ones of the other countries.
And we've lost all the staff that worked in the restaurants, etc. They've all gone back to their own countries.
The low-paid staff who are relying on
there was a pandemic.
And Brits don't want to take those low-paid jobs. They don't take them.
Do you mean the low-paid staff who are relying on the high value of the pound so they can take it back to the EU and it would be worth more, so they're literally milking us?
Well, they don't have to wait very long before the pound goes down even further, do they, really?
Let me tell you, Sam, you really have lost your way because there was COVID, which has obviously affected, down to Rishi furloughing, like companies like Victoria Beckham's company. There is a war still continuing, a legal Putin's invasion, which has affected, and it's many other countries.
I agree. There is the war between the Ukraine and Russia, of course, and there is COVID, of course. So we cannot blame everything on Brexit. We cannot blame everything on Brexit. I completely agree with you. But again, I don't think he's out of order because he does know what he's talking about way more than we do.
He made a mess of it.
He made a mess.
He kept interest rates way too low.
Exactly.
When I bought a house, they were about 5%. That was way back, and that was quite right. We're back to a normal rate. Let's go to see what our viewers think, though, because this show's nothing without them. Let's welcome them and our great British voices. Apparently he did a deal with Gordon Brown, apparently, to keep interest rates low. This is your opportunity to be on the show. Tell us what you think about the topics we're discussing. I've got a full review. Let's start with Dr. Seshni Moodlia in Milton Keynes. Seshni, talk to me. Do you blame Brexit for this inflation?
Good afternoon, Nana. I love your new hairdo, by the way. You look stunning.
Thank you.
Yes, I think it's a combination of Brexit, COVID, and the war. So I agree with what mostly with what some of what you're saying, and Lizzie. So it is a combination of Brexit didn't make it easier. We had an economic drain. We had professionals leave, and obviously it increased the cost of certain goods and also goods from other countries.
Okay.
But yes, in addition to that, the COVID as well as the war has made it more difficult.
Brilliant.
And
Let's go to
caused
Alan
inflation.
McNeely. Alan McNeely. Thank you, Seshni. Alan.
Good afternoon, Nana. How are you? All right?
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, just a couple of facts for Sam there. Exports from Scotland, the northeast of England, and Wales are up to the EU. Imports into England, to the southeast and the West Midlands, they import more. But I was looking at some statistics. In 2021, the cost of a container to ship goods was up to $20,600, which was just incredible price. That's fallen back down now to about $1,400, down 93%. So when people say that the pandemic had no impact on the cost of living, it's all down to Brexit, it's absolutely rubbish. And I would agree with a few members of your panel who said that Mark Carney seemed to totally miss the fact that he was just printing money like it was Christmas.
Well, exactly.
That's the real impact.
He was in charge.
COVID and all the printing money.
He was in charge. Let's go to Jonathan Jones. Thank you, Alan. Jonathan Jones in Cornwall. Jonathan, is it all Brexit's fault?
I know. I think there's a lot of nonsense in that Telegraph article. It actually says further on, Carney himself admits it's a coincidence of other factors. It's a bit like us farmers blaming the lack of rain for not having any tea down here in Cornwall. You wouldn't wear it, would you? We've got to get out and make positive things and make things happen. We can't blame Brexit all the time.
Yeah, he's got the reishi tea as well. He's going to make some reishi nana tea. Brilliant. I'm looking forward to that, Jonathan. And finally, let's go to Amanda Hindley in Kent. Amanda.
Hi, Nana. I don't think it's got anything to do with Brexit, honestly. I think it's all to do with the absolute farce that was COVID lockdown. And also the fact that our government and global governments are totally corrupt. I don't think it's anything to do with Brexit at all. I think it's the combination of those two. Lockdown, corrupt governments.
There you go. Well, there you have it. I like your decisive nature, Amanda. And she's so concise as well. She can almost, literally, you can hear them counting in my ear.
Sam's head was between her hands.
You're right. I think you're right there as well.